Yeah, you ready?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joliet City Council meeting for Tuesday, May 18th. The presiding will be Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet. Before we do that, we will have Father Alexander Bugarin. Oh, Father, forgive me if I... You did good. Okay, thank you. And after that, Father, you will lead us into the pledge, sir. Okay.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for every seat that has been filled here today, this evening, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish tonight. We have an idea, vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, we have abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness, O Heavenly Father, transcends all of our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for our pride, the pride that puts up the pride that threatens the unqualified us. Strengthen our confidence in who have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together. Bless this meeting tonight, all those here present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterward. Ready us to make every moment count. We ask you in the Jesus Christ's name, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Together, pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
Begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation on the Alternative Water Source Program update. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. As we've discussed previously at meetings, we've moved forward with implementation of the Alternative Water Source Program. And we've decided we needed to make sure the council and the public is kept informed, and we'll be doing that via many avenues, but one of them is going to be updates at the city council meetings. And I know there's a busy agenda this evening, so I'll be brief, but anyone who's watching at home who wants more information, we have lots of information available on our website, rethinkwaterjoliet.org. So tonight I wanted to provide an update on a number of issues. They're listed here, and I'll just jump right into the first one, which is an update on the strategic plan. So I know this graphic is a little hard to read, but I think hopefully it demonstrates just the complexity of the project that we are kicking off here. This strategic plan is really the guiding document that provides that direction to staff to implement the program. This was approved by council in January of 2020. And within that is a periodic review process that we go through to update it and make sure that this is, on the path to, having the new water source online by 2030. So the strategic plan details our mission, vision, and goals. It has been updated in 2021, and this plan here lays out how we're going to go about making sure that the new water source is online by 2030. A lot of key information in here relating to meetings that we're going to be having, stakeholder meetings with the council, meetings with Public Service and Finance Committee, our public outreach strategy, external coordination that we're doing with negotiating the final water supply agreement with Chicago, all of our regional outreach that we're doing to form the new water commission, and then all of the engineering, which there's numerous capital improvement packages that have been put together that will be implemented to bring that new Lake Michigan water source to Joliet by 2030. This updated document will be added to the website so that the public and anyone else who's interested may view that. An update on regional coordination. So a major focus in 2021 is forming the Regional Water Commission. From day one, that has been a focus of the City Council, is making sure that we're reaching out to potential partners in this to basically ensure that we get that economies of scale and can provide the lowest cost Lake Michigan water source to our residents. We've been meeting with 11 other communities as shown on this slide. This just kind of details some of the engineering behind it, showing where those demands would be occurring. We've been having many meetings each month, both with a technical advisory group as well as a mayor's and managers group to discuss the key issues related to the formation of the Water Commission. And this timeline here is governed by the need to identify the size of the system in early 2022 so that the final design can be completed. So that's why we're on this very aggressive schedule of making sure that we are engaging all of the regional partners and taking the steps necessary to make sure that by the first quarter of next year that we will know who those partners are, and so that we can adequately size the system to provide water. So this timeline includes specific items the council will have to take action on. The first is a resolution related to the intent to negotiate creation of the Water Commission. And this is something that we at the commission discussed having to really understand better which regional partners are serious about participating. So this would be a step that each of the potential member community boards would take just to show that they are serious about negotiating these terms. The next step would be the legislation, the enabling legislation, and this would allow the commission to basically form that best suits our needs for the region. Next would be the actual ordinance to join, and this is the point where the formal process to join the group and agree to the key terms would occur. As you can see, that would be occurring in January of next year. At that same time, the Joliet City Council would need to decide what capacity the Joliet wants for the city, and that would be the amount then that we would contractually buy into and contribute those capital costs for funding construction of that capacity. The other items, the Water Commission bylaws and the Water Purchase Agreement, would follow after formation of the Water Commission. The next item is our Lake Michigan allocation application status. Having that allocation is critical to enabling Joliet to have Lake Michigan water. We've taken the steps on this slide and are very optimistic that by this summer we will formally have that allocation in hand. And once that permit is issued, we will have the second largest allocation in the state, the first being Chicago. We've talked about funding a lot and how this program would be funded, and mentioned WIFIA. WIFIA again is a federal loan program with very favorable terms and very low interest rates. So the good news, which I've previously announced, is that we are no longer on a wait list for additional credit, and so we currently have available $731 million that would be available, and this is enough adequate funding for both the alternative water source program costs and also the water main replacement program, which, as you recall, we are going to be significantly increasing in the years 2022 to 2030 to reduce the non-revenue water, which is a requirement of our Lake Michigan allocation permit. The timeline associated with this, we are planning to make 2 applications. The first would actually be done in June of this year, and that would cover some of the upfront developmental costs associated with the engineering, as well as that water main replacement program for 2022 to 2030. Really, that first step is approval of an application fee, which will be on a council agenda in June. Then we'll apply for a second loan, and this would happen in 2022, which would cover then the remaining construction, the bulk of the construction for the program. So again, this is just one of the methods we'll be using for the funding. Jim Gadati has been working very closely with the finance team to prepare for this application, and then we're continuing to explore the other avenues for funding related to the state revolving fund, revenue bonds, and then other grant and programs that may become available. So update on our public outreach strategy. So since the inception of this program, we've really prioritized public engagement, and we've decided in 2021 to really take a step back and reevaluate what we have been doing to make sure that we are meeting all of our goals for public outreach, which are increasing awareness, maintaining transparency, enhancing customer understanding, and promoting confidence. So the 2021 public outreach strategy will continue the efforts from the prior years using social media posts, e-blasts, the community billboards, PACE bus and community posters, quarterly newsletters, stakeholder meetings, and we're also going to prepare an informational video which can run on Channel 6 and also be on the website. So we also, though, this year we'll be conducting targeted community outreach really to help us reach those, the hard-to-reach populations. And we're going to be doing this via Community Leader Summit and targeted events and meetings. So this document is being finalized right now and will be made available on the project website. So another goal of 2021 is to develop a local and DBE partner engagement strategy. So the disadvantaged business enterprise goals for professional services and construction are a requirement of our anticipated funding sources. So both WIFIA and the IEPA State Revolving Loan Fund have goals that need to be incorporated into our contract documents that we would then strive to meet. And also the preliminary agreement with Chicago does require that Joliet incorporate Chicago's contracting requirements into the documents for those project components that are being funded by Chicago and ultimately owned by Chicago. So to meet these requirements, the project team is developing an engagement strategy to solicit participation by minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. And this process has already begun in preliminary design, where we anticipate approximately $1 million in professional services will be going to MBE and WBE geotechnical consultants. And then for final design, we will be issuing an RFQ this fall that will solicit local and DBE partners for the final design efforts. So we want to make sure everyone from the council to the public to all of our stakeholders are being kept informed. And in order to do this, we have a number of meetings planned this summer. We have the stakeholder meeting that will be scheduled for June. We'll be always making updates to the Public Service Committee on the third Monday of each month. Finance Committee updates, newsletter, again, which would be quarterly with the first one going out later this month. And then again, the next City Council update is planned for August. So that was a really quick run through on where we are at with the program. So if there's any questions, I can answer them at this time. And again, if anyone listening or watching today has a need for more information, they can visit our project website at rethinkwaterjoliet.org.
Questions? Thank you, Allison.
Okay, thank you.
Next on the agenda is a proclamation declaring May 16th through the 22nd, 2021 National Public Works Week.
Well, thank you. This is my first proclamation that I'm going to read. And I was sitting here as you were going through your presentation. I was thinking, like, what does it mean to me? And it's like every day. It's the guys and girls that are in this building, the people that answer the phones, the people that accept your payment, the people that are the employees that are out there plowing the snow in the holes, fixing water mains. It's so many people that are part of this. So I just want to thank you coming from me. So here's a proclamation. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Joliet. Whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without a dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees of all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Whereas it is in the public's interest for the citizens, public leaders, and children in the city of Joliet to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. Whereas the year 2021 marks the 61st annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association. Be it now. Now, therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby designate the week of May 16th through the 22nd, 2021 as National Public Works Week, and urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association, and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. It was signed today, May 18th, 2021, by the Honorable Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet. Thank you.
Next is a proclamation honoring Joliet Township for their restoration and stabilization work at Oakwood Cemetery.
I have a quick thing first. So, good evening. My name's Jane Bernhardt, and I'm a city planner here on staff, for those who don't know me. And I'm here tonight with the Chair of the Historic Preservation, Quinn Adamowski, and the Vice Chair of the Joliet Historic Preservation, Candace Johnson, and then one of our commissioners, Sharon Merwin, is also here in the back. And tonight we're here to recognize 3 recipients for our annual Joliet Historic Preservation Award. The city bestows these awards during the month of May, which last council meeting I announced was Historic Preservation Month. So tonight we're going to recognize each awardee with a proclamation which highlights their dedication to the field of historic preservation. So the first award via proclamation, I don't know who has the proclamation?
Councilman Hug.
Okay, Councilman Hug does. So the first one is to Joliet Township, and we have here Mr. Dan Vera, who is here to accept the award on behalf of Joliet Township. Dan was a long-serving Joliet Township supervisor who oversaw the restoration and stabilization of the historic cemetery. And Dan was also a former commissioner of the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission. So, Councilman Hug, take it away.
Before I move into this, Dan, how you doing? Mayor, can I ask you a favor? Could you put together a committee that can look into ways to make this writing smaller?
I didn't do it.
The only one who doesn't need glasses is Caesar.
There you go. Right.
Some might wonder, do I have any connection? I was talking to Dan Vera earlier, to Oakwood Cemetery. I grew up in Mokina. That can't happen. I live in the Plainfield Township portion of Joliet. For those that went to college, every summer, if we weren't rich and didn't go to Aruba, we had to find a summer job. I can't remember the summer of '84 or the summer of '85, and I don't remember how I came about. And all the summers blend together back in college days. I spent the whole summer working, mowing the Oakwood Cemetery. Knowing that that's true, don't jump to conclusions that I had anything to do with the need to stabilize or restore it. It was not my fault. We started every week, every 2 weeks, the front of it, mowed back. At the end of the 2 weeks, guess what the front was again? And there was a bar right across the street. I remember that. I think it's since gone, right? All right, Dan, we have a proclamation here from the mayor. Whereas in celebration of Historic Preservation Month in the city of Joliet, the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission wishes to recognize Joliet Township for the restoration and stabilization work at Oakwood Cemetery. Whereas Oakwood Cemetery was established in 1855 and is the final resting place of numerous leading citizens of the Joliet area, as well as Governor Joel Aldrich Madison. Whereas Joliet Township has improved the overall condition of the historic Oakwood Cemetery since taking control of the cemetery in 2019, and under its leadership has provided regular maintenance and enhanced landscaping at the cemetery, installed asphalt driveways throughout the cemetery, and restored the monument to Governor Joel Aldrich Madison. Now, therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, on behalf of the Joliet City Council and the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission, extend our most sincere appreciation to Joliet Township as we present the 16th Annual Joliet Historic Preservation Award, signed May 18, 2021, Mayor Robert Odekirk.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. Also, thank you to Quinn and to Candace. Thank you very much. Yes, it was a 3-year project. We completed in April. Paved every one of the gravel streets that was out there, roads. Got everything finished in time. The garage was stabilized where the lawn equipment used to be. When we took over, the 3 big pieces of equipment were all broke and had to be carted away. So
I didn't do that.
yeah, I know it wasn't you either, Larry, but it was nice when I walked in with you tonight that you said you used to work out there. Yes, thank you for the recognition to the Historic Preservation Commission and to the mayor and to the city council. We do appreciate that very much. And it is nice to come full circle, having served on the commission, to be recognized by the commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next proclamation is honoring Lynn Lichtenauer, and tonight we have Lynn's fiance Lauren Lynch and her son Eric Lichtenauer to accept the award on Lynn's behalf. And as most of you know, Lynn passed away this year after a courageous battle with cancer on February 23rd, 2021. So I'd like to bring Eric and Lauren up, and then Jan will be reading the proclamation. Thank you.
Whereas in celebration of Historic Preservation Month in the city of Joliet, the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission wishes to recognize Lynn Lichtenauer for her dedication to promoting Joliet's heritage and preserving Joliet's history. Lynn was a former board member and 4-term president of the Joliet Historical Museum. Under her leadership, the museum entered in an unprecedented public-private partnership with the city of Joliet and community partners to restore the iconic old Joliet prison. Whereas Lynn also served as executive director of the historic and iconic Rialto Square Theater for over a decade, after which she became a founding member of the Rialto Square Theater Foundation Board. The Rialto Square Theater is on the National Register of Historic Places. Now, therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission, extend our most sincere appreciation to Lynn Lichtenauer as we present the 16th Annual Joliet Historic Preservation Award, signed Robert Odekirk on May 18th, 2021. And if I may, on a personal note, I knew Lynn for a very, very long time, and she was just an asset to our community. And I remember she'd always talk about the Rialto and how Mrs. Maverick saved the Rialto. And when they had not the 90th, but it was the 80th birthday party at the Rialto, and she was the producer and director of this whole vaudeville show, which brought the Rialto back to that certain time back in the 20s. And there were flappers, and there were bellmen, and there were old movies. They showed Laurel and Hardy movies, and they had a fan dancer that was like Sally Rand, but people have to look that up in the history books if you don't know who that was. But it was just a fabulous thing, and it made a lot of money for the Rialto, and I know that was always Lynn's heart. She was always at the Rialto and just totally loved everything about it. She was a remarkable lady. I could go on and on, but that was just one particular thing I wanted to mention. So my heartfelt appreciation to Lynn and her son, Eric, and Lauren. So very, very sorry. She will totally be missed. It'll be a big hole here in the city of Joliet.
Thank you.
Same thing.
Mr. Mayor, council members, and the Preservation Committee, I want to thank them so much for choosing Lynn for this, Quinn and Candace, and I know that the nomination came from Greg Peerbold. As all of you know, Lynn loved the city of Joliet. She just, everything she did, all the committees that she was on, everything was to be positive toward the city of Joliet. So her three most favorite loves was Rialto Theater, the Joliet Historical Museum and Old Joliet Prison, and being director of alumni for all 16 years with the Joliet Township High School graduates. She loved the alumni. Thank you very much.
That covered it pretty well, Lauren. Just want to also add, as her son and when growing up, watching her dedication to the community, to Joliet and Greater Will County, from the time I was a little boy in the 80s. When she worked at the Rialto, she was group sales representative, and she would take me in the evenings after a hard day of work. We'd go travel different communities, and she'd give presentations of the Rialto, and she'd have her big briefcase and her slide projector, and she'd be lugging it all over, and a lot of times with me in tow. And just remember sitting there, watching her, deliver these great words about the Rialto. And from those moments through the 90s, the 2000s, the early 90s, when she was the director of the Rialto, and then when she did produce the birthday show, when she was, I think it was the 80th, or 80th or 90th, yeah, or in the 80s. And when's that time you were roller skating on the
Well, that wasn't
Rialto?
me, but I was one of the flappers.
Okay. I remember the WGN came in and did a little segment on it, but I always knew, I was, first in her life, but always not too far behind was the city of Joliet, especially the Rialto, and then following that, the museum. And finally, one of the last big events I remember her very fondly during was the prison concert in 2019. And she was instrumental in that. And she also was the MC when we had the Ides of March, and there's a couple thousand people there, and it was just brought home to me what impact she made. So I'm sure she's looking down at us, thanking the council and the mayor and Jane and everyone else involved, Jan, in giving her this award. And I'm very humbled and honored to have been able to receive it for her and Lauren, with Lauren. Thank you very much.
Turn around. You want their picture?
You too, get in the middle. Tim.
We have something for you. There you go. All right. 1, 2.
For those at home, we didn't get to do this. These beautiful awards were given, and it says 2021 Joliet Historic Preservation Award presented to Lynn Lichtenauer, to her family. So very nice. It's very pretty. I don't know if you can see it on TV, but it's very pretty. Thank you.
All right. Our last award for the 2021 Joliet Historic Preservation Award goes to Billy Lehmacher. And today we have Billy's daughter, Terry Dell, here to accept the award on Billy's behalf. And as many of you know, Billy passed away this year at the age of 99 on April 1st of 2021. And Billy was also a former commissioner of the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission. And it looks like we have Councilwoman Reardon to read the proclamation about Billy Lehmacher. Thank you.
talk about two giant holes left in the city with the passing of Lynn and with your mom, Billy, or your sister, Billy. Mom, your mom, I'm sorry. Talk about, I mean, she was such a historian, such a arts supporter. We truly, truly miss her. Yes. A proclamation. Whereas in celebration of Historic Preservation Month in the city of Joliet, the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission wishes to recognize Billy Leemacher for her dedication to promoting Joliet's heritage and preserving Joliet's history. Whereas Billy was the guiding force for the construction of Joliet Bicentennial Park, later named Billy Leemacher Bicentennial Park, along Bluff Street. Bluff Street was one of Joliet's first streets. Billy worked tirelessly to preserve the early history of Joliet by establishing this park and incorporating historical markers, placards, and other historical features into the park's design. Whereas Billy Leemacher also was a founding member of the Will County Historical, seems as though we left out a word there, so we'll just say, a former member of the Joliet Historical Preservation Commission, and served as the Will County historian for several years. Now, therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission, extend our most sincere appreciation to Billy Leemacher as we present the 16th Annual Joliet Historical Preservation Award. This date, May 18th, by the Honorable Robert Odekirk, Mayor of Joliet. So, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the council, and to the Historic Preservation Commission. My mom loved Will County. When we'd go over the border of Will County, she would always go, WWC, wonderful Will County, we're back. She loved Joliet. She adopted Joliet when she met my dad, and she especially loved Bluff Street. I grew up going on picnics in the ruins of Bluff Street. She would be very happy to have this award, and you're gonna miss her, and we are too. Thank you.
Mayor, I might just add one little footnote about Miss Billy. She will always be remembered as well, not only for the park that she saved, but for riding around in that golf cart, making sure that everything was right. There goes Billy. And $1 hot dog, yes. Another big hole, like Councilwoman Rudin said.
Thank you, Jane.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. John Filipchuk regarding council memos 268 and 269.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is John Filipchuk. I'm an attorney with offices at 111 East Jefferson Avenue in Naperville, Illinois. I'm here this evening on behalf of Speedway LLC. With me is Rachel Skur, who is a construction project manager for Speedway. Speedway has approval for the construction of a C-store and gas station and truck fueling facility to be located at 2121 South Chicago Street. That's Route 53 and Emerald Drive. They're proposing a $9 million investment in the city of Joliet. Some of you are new council members, so you're not as familiar with this, but it started back in 2017 with an amendment and a new annexation agreement for the property. We have been waiting since that time, several years, for the EDP grant to be approved by the state of Illinois. It appears that it's coming very soon now. I know you've adopted some recent agreements with them, and so we're very confident, hopeful, that this funding for the intersection improvements and the building of Emerald Drive at Route 53, which will not only benefit the Speedway facility, but also Amazon, IKEA, et cetera, they're on the other side of Route 53. So what plans were approved, we showed two buildings, the C-store and then a separate building because they wanted to have the beer and wine sales. And council had been allowing that in the community. The approval was for that site plan. In January of this year, I sent a letter to the mayor and city council members requesting that you consider amendments to your liquor code that would permit such sales from within the C-store, one building, because we feel it would be a very significant cost savings, not only for the Speedway folks, but of course for the customers that would be utilizing the facility. So tonight, before you, you have two items on your agenda, Ordinance 268-21 and 269-21, which would amend your liquor code to allow for some beer and wine sales in the C-stores. We would eliminate the need for the second building, would allow, in some instances, some video gaming. We think it's a very progressive step. We would encourage you and ask you respectively to please approve those ordinances this evening. I'm here to answer any questions, or if you have something you'd like to ask later when it comes up for consideration, I'd be happy to help you with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? I also wanted to note a letter was received from City Center Partnership and was placed on the dais regarding tonight's agenda item.
Yes.
Next on the agenda are appointments. Tonight, the mayor is recommending the following reappointments to the library board: S.E. Chavez and Dr. John Markley. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under council committee reports, finance committee report.
Finance Committee met this evening at 5:30. On the committee is Cesar Guerrero and Sherry Reardon. The meeting started with an authorization to award a comprehensive benefit to our consultants who have been our consultants the last 3 years, which is Gallagher Consultants. They have held their price at $76,000, and this item is on the agenda a little bit later today, and it's been recommended by the Finance Committee as well as staff for that. The next item on the agenda was the monthly finance report given by Mr. Gandati. All items are on budget. Our budget is equal to that of 2019. We appear that if things stay as is, which he feels they will actually be increasing, that we will do better with our revenues than projected. We have not yet received our stimulus money. We have applied for it, and at this stage, we think it's going to be about $11.5 million, and hopefully we'll be here before the end of the month. And that's my report, unless Sherry or like to add anything to it.
Thank you.
Public safety committee report.
Public Safety met this evening at 5:30 in the Executive Council chambers. Present was Councilman Clement, Mike Betas, Deputy Chief from the Joliet Police Department, Councilman Larry Hugg, myself, and Jeff Price, who is the new director of the fleet, and he has taken over for Mr. Trisna, I believe. Mr. Price, are you here? Can you, okay, there you are. Thought you were still there. Okay, on the agenda today was a cargo vehicle for the police department for $48,510. And the second one was for the purchase of 3 2020 Ford Fusion vehicles for the police department. Now, there's an amendment on the dais here. The original price was $65,285.68. And in a last minute bid, it's a $3,000 savings. So Mr. Price is going to explain both of these purchases for us.
Mr. Mayor, council members, it's a pleasure to meet you all officially. We followed our normal process where we looked for the state bid first. And then, after we talked to them, it was in Springfield, Landmark Ford. They did not have any vehicles, but we were able to ascertain the price. We polled the local dealerships as well to see who had anything, and no one came back immediately. We found 3 of the cars at Willowbrook, but we did poll out to maybe 4 or 5 other dealerships that were out there. On Friday night, probably about 6 o'clock, I received an email and verified it on Monday that we could receive, Willowbrook had the original price of the $65,258. The second dealership that reached out to me was DeRazio down in Wilmington, and when I verified their pricing, it came in $3,008.68 cheaper for like vehicles. So we turned in we talked with the city clerk, with legal, and made sure that it was okay for us to amend the original document as we submitted it. You know, it's just a timing issue that if we could save the city the $3,000, we hope that we were able to. We did receive approval for that, so that's why you see a second document there. If you have any questions or, anything, that's what I'm here for tonight.
And it was approved by legal, and I have to correct myself. I said Mr. Truzza, but it was Mr. Druzik he took the place of.
All good people, so.
Okay, and it was unanimously voted on as to pass both of these items. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Public Service Committee report.
All right, folks, fasten your seatbelts. This is the most exciting committee in the city. We don't talk about sports. We don't talk about money. We talk about water and sewer. And we submerge ourselves in sewer. So, we met yesterday as a committee. A little hype. We met yesterday as a committee here at City Hall in the main council chambers at 4:30. On the committee and present were Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. Also in attendance was Allison Swisher, Director of Utilities, as well as Greg Ruddy, Director of Public Works, and some other staff members that were in and out. It was routine, it was short. We had one contract item, and it had to do with awarding a bid contract to have a replacement pump in the Black Road Pump Station for sewage. Very important that we replace that pump. It went out. There's the excitement for that portion of the meeting. We had 4 change orders and pay estimates and final payments. The one that I would probably make note of for those interested is we actually did a change order going up $14,594 for sidewalks because there was more people that had applied for the 50/50 program. So we wanted to accommodate them since they wanted to get the sidewalks fixed under that program. Then we had 3 items that had to do, all 3 were for a drive-throughs. One was for the Starbucks restaurant that will be going in the Pier 1 Imports old spot. They're gonna tear down the building. The other one was for Burger King on 400 East Cass Street. They're gonna tear down their entire building and they're gonna move it a little bit further away from the street. Be a brand new updated building with a drive-through. And the other one was for a new member of our Joliet community. Hopefully, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna vote for it. Amigos Restaurant, which will be at 2307 Jefferson Street. For those who can't picture it by number, it's the old, what do you call that restaurant? Arby's, the old Arby's restaurant. And they, get your Cajun on. This is Cajun food, authentic Cajun food. Is gonna be good, folks. I love Cajun food. So we went through all these items, we discussed and vetted them, and every item that is also on the city council agenda tonight was unanimously approved by all 3 committee members as a recommendation to the full council to approve it here tonight. Did I miss anything, Betty or Terry?
I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right, you were stuck in.
It was so exciting, you didn't even miss me being there.
I live streamed it to you.
Yeah, you did.
All right, that'd be my report, Mayor.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the special meeting held on May 3rd, 2021, and the minutes of the council meeting held on May 4th, 2021 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 247-21, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 1 part-time general laborer at Union Station Gateway Center, and 1 Deputy Director of Engineering, and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 248-21, award of contract for comprehensive benefit consulting broker services to Gallagher Benefit Services. Council Memo 249-21, professional engineering services agreement for the Black Road Pump Station improvements to Donahue and Associates in the amount of $146,990. Council Memo 250-21, purchase of 1 Ford Transit 350 HD cargo vehicle for the police department. Revised Council Memo 251-21, purchase of 3 2020 Ford Fusion vehicles for the police department. Council Memo 252-21, Amendment Number 3 for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Garnsey Avenue over Spring Creek Improvement Project to Willett Hoffman and Associates in the amount of $9,984. Council Memo 253-21, Change Order Number 1 and final payout for the 2020 Sanitary Sewer Point Repair Project, various locations, to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $51,641.77. Council Memo 254-21, Change Order Number 1 for the 2020 Sidewalk Curb Replacement Project to J&J Newell Concrete Contractors in the amount of $14,594. Council Memo 255-21, Change Order Number 3 for the 2020 Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Program to Performance Pipelining in the amount of negative $6,978.40. It's recommended Council Memos 248-21 through 255-21 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 257-21, an application for a drive-through permit for an Amigos restaurant at 2307 Jefferson Street. It's recommended this drive-through permit be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
I made out a little menu. So when you, a little short list of favorites, but I vote aye. Thank you. Welcome.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Welcome to Joliet.
Council Memo 258-20 was an application for a drive-through permit for a Burger King restaurant at 400 East Cass Street. It's recommended this drive-through permit be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Just before, I think, just because the question came up from a few people that I know, we don't actually have any decision over what goes in that location. This vote is just an approval of, the Burger King still owns that property, and so what they decide to do with it, right, they're just reopening their building. We don't actually have any say in, tearing this down and installing something else, a new business.
No, it's their
Right.
business, it's private property.
Exactly. So, yeah, just because I had the question raised to me a couple of times, so just wanted to clear that out there. So I vote aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 259-21, application for a drive-through permit for a Starbucks restaurant at 3064 Plainfield Road. It's recommended the drive-through permit be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 260-21, issuance of a Class B liquor license at 2307 West Jefferson Street, Amigos Sophisticated Street Food. It's recommended a Class B liquor license be issued to Amigos at 2307 West Jefferson Street.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on, under ordinances, Council Memo 262-21, ordinances associated with Rock Run Business Park subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the preliminary plat and an ordinance approving the recording plat of consolidation of lots 4 and 5 of Rock Run Business Park IDI re-subdivision number 1. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 263-21, ordinances associated with Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet. This includes ordinance approving the reclassification of 110 acres north of 3501 Brandon Road from ITA Intermodal Terminal to ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning. An ordinance approving the revised preliminary plat of Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet amendment, and an ordinance approving the final plat, and an ordinance approving the recording plat of Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet Phase 24. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 264-21, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow large diesel truck, no semi repair located at 100 McDonald Avenue. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
No.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 265-21, an ordinance approving a special use permit for truck and trailer parking located at 2951 Mound Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
No.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 266-21, an ordinance approving a special use permit for truck equipment and sales, service and repair located at 2951 Mound Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
No.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 267-21, an ordinance accepting a temporary construction easement and permanent utility easement at 2223 Hollywood Road for the Hobart Road Interchange Modification and Roadway Reconstruction Project. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Affirmative.
Motion carried. Council Memo 268-21 is an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Sections 4-1, 4-15B, 4-23, 4-30, and repealing Section 4-39, Ordinances of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances
amending liquor code to allow package sales and video gaming at gas stations. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Questions?
Yes.
So Sabrina, thank you very much for sending me the Liquor Control Commission statement from the state. I still don't understand, I still don't see, I guess I should say, that our ordinance are going to help us satisfy the thoughts, complaints, or desires of any of the other service stations out there appealing to get a liquor license and be able to have gaming come with it. I think this should be tabled and go back to committee.
Is there a motion?
I'll second.
Yes, it's a motion.
Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 268-21. Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
No.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Item 268-21 was tabled to bring back to committee. Council Memo 269-21, an ordinance repealing Chapter 4, Article 3, Section 4-34.1, ordinance of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, repealing section banning single serving of alcohol sales. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Excuse me, Mayor, point of order.
Yes.
Shouldn't this also be tabled, the next two? Because it all has to do with the same thing.
No, these are separate.
Separate?
This is,
This one is separate.
It is separate? Okay.
There was a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 269-21, an ordinance repealing Chapter 4, Article 3, Section 4-34.1, ordinance of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, repealing section banning single serving of alcohol sales. Councilwoman Quillman,
No.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Yeah, before I vote, just real quickly, this started 10 years ago, when we had officers assigned downtown. There was a problem with, single-serve bottles all over the city. I think as a city, we can do a better job, bringing back our downtown officers, working with the business owners. They're hurting. I mean, like everybody else, and I don't want to single them out. I walked the alley, some of the council, men and women saw us down there, the mayor and I walked it. I didn't see that many bottles at all. I think if we police it and do a better job that way, I'd like to give them a chance, so I'm gonna vote aye. So.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
I would just quickly comment, I agree with Councilman Clement. If you see a difference downtown in the TIF zone over the last 5 or 6 years, it's because of the efforts of the Joliet Police Department and the downtown officers that were added. It is not that difficult for someone who's looking to buy a single serve to walk a block and a half, 2 blocks outside the zone. So this is really unfair. You can't single out businesses and treat them differently than every other business. I could vote yes on 2 items, the one before me tonight, or something banning it border to border. Nobody can sell it, so it's equal to every merchant. So therefore, I will vote aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Under resolutions, Council Memo 271-21, a resolution repealing resolution number 7550 and granting a liquor license to Lambert Enterprises for the premises at 1529 North Broadway Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Mayor, I feel this needs to be tied with the other 268-21 that was tabled, and I'd like to call for this to be tabled also.
I'll second.
It's Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 271-21, a resolution repealing Resolution Number 7550 and granting a liquor license to Lambert Enterprises for the premises at 1529 North Broadway Street. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
I don't know why we're waiting. No.
Councilman Morris.
Yeah.
Point of order, you can't talk about it after Winston's table.
I didn't think so, but
Sorry.
no.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Item Council Memo 271-21 was tabled. Council Memo 272-21, a resolution authorizing an amendment to a home subrecipient agreement between Will County and the City of Joliet. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 273-21, a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between the City of Joliet, BP Central Pipelines LLC, and Centerpoint Joint Terminal Railroad LLC, recognizing, adopting, and expanding an existing easement at Better Road. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 274-21 is a resolution appropriating additional motor fuel tax funds for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Garnsey Avenue over Spring Creek Improvement Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
I think I said quite enough yesterday, so I'll leave it, my remarks as is, so thank you.
New business not for final action or recommendation.
Joe?
I just want to thank Allison Swisher and her team and Derek Conley for getting me up to speed with the water and economic development that's happening in the city. We have big projects coming, and it was great to see what's coming. Also, I attended the Cunningham Neighborhood Council meeting on the 5th of May. We're working on, Jan, some of the other council members were there. The Cora and the grocery store over there is an issue. We are working, I want the people there that live there, we're working on it. I think new fresh set of eyes, and Jan has insight on it. I think we can come to some sort of agreement, conclusion, or just try to solve it. So I just want to let everybody know that we were there at that meeting. There is an issue over there. So that's all I have.
I have nothing, sir.
Caesar? Yeah, just briefly, I just want to be clear. Anything that we're going to vote on, if we didn't tonight or in the future, and Councilman Morris, you'll have a chance to say your piece too now, about what you wanted to say earlier. I don't know why the people up here are kicking it down the road. We should have voted it up or down tonight. I will not support anything that allows people to stand there and drink at a gas pump, in a gas station. I voted no in that fateful night over a year ago, and for some reason, the now departed interim city manager Steve Jones convinced enough people to vote yes on a very, very dumb idea. There is no path outside of lunacy for selling alcohol, open alcohol, at a gas station. There's no path. I don't know what you guys were looking for. There's no path. You opened that can of worms a year ago, and it's going to play itself out.
Yeah, you know what, I was just, I mean, they similar, but to me, it's not that similar because, I mean, it came through committee and we were I was under the impression through the information that we was given at committee that we were being instructed by the Illinois Gaming Board to, give Mr. Lambert a license. And it seemed from the meeting that no matter, it's not gonna go away. I don't know what we're gonna be able to talk about in committee more than what we already had discussed in committee. Now, the number of licenses that we issue, and I, go along with the table for that because, as Councilman Hugg said, the gate is open. At this point, we gave the gas station a license, and it's just open now. It's either gonna be two or everybody, I guess, for that. But for Mr. Lambert, I thought that was a pretty, from the committee, my understanding at the committee meeting, that's a pretty, open and closed case, I guess unless we can, appeal it or fight the Illinois Gaming Board. I don't know. That's, the point I was just trying to make, that they tied together, but to me, they're not tied together. That's all.
Jim?
Even though I was unable to attend the Cunningham meeting, I did talk to not only neighborhood services, but the police department and the street department about what we could be done. And they're working on a plan right now for Cora Street, so I did relate that to you. I'm gonna say this piece right now because I was gonna say it earlier, but since things got tabled, I was led down the wrong path by the former city manager, Mr. Jones. When I voted for the gas station with liquor, and it was under the premise that they were going to preserve an older home, it was historical, and they paid $300,000 to have it moved to save one of Joliet's historical structures. I'm all about preservation, and I felt that so many of our beautiful structures have already been lost, and I thought, well, this is a way to save it. And the way I was misled, I was worried about opening a can of worms, but I was told by the city manager at the time, Mr. Jones, that this was a one-time thing, it won't happen again, and it'll be good for the city. Well, he was wrong, and I drank the Kool-Aid, and I regret it every day. So having said that, I just wanted to get my piece out there because I cannot support it, period. So anyhow, I just wanted to admit my mistake. It wasn't a mistake, though, I was misled, but you try to put your trust into the people that are running the city, and you take the information that the city manager gives you and you hope it's the correct answer, but apparently it was not. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Sure. All right, I have a couple things. Number one, Jim, regarding this home, I brought up yesterday what the status of this is, other than it's sitting abandoned on Jackson Street. Do we have any update on what's happened to that home, what the plan is?
No, we have not received anything from the Will County Historical Society. They had pledged to take care of it if it was moved, and they would be all over it. And at one point, I believe, they had indicated that they wanted to have an African-American museum there, but there's been no funding for it. It continues to fall in a state of disrepair. So they, unfortunately, I equated to somebody who wanted a puppy, said they were going to take care of it, and then never did. So, and that's what's happened here. They asked for that home, said they would take care of it, and now it continues to even move into a further state of disrepair. So it's becoming an eyesore. If I was in the neighborhood there, I certainly wouldn't want that next to my house. So it's not become what everybody thought it would be, I believe, Mayor. That's my opinion as well, so.
And just so I'm clear, because there's a lot of confusion. Who is the owner of that home now? The city did not assume ownership.
No, the city did not assume ownership. The Will County Historical Society owns that. The property it's on is the city of Joliet property.
Okay. All right, well, that ties in the second point. I was at the Cunningham meeting last week, and this matter came up, and then it came up a couple of days later at the Campa meeting, neighborhood meeting, regarding the CARES Act funding and specifically what the city of Joliet received. Now, we've talked about that here, how the percentage that we got was way below what the percentage Joliet's population was. But Jim Guidotti, I was wondering if for the next meeting, if you can get us a breakdown of exactly how much money came into Will County and where that money went, I would appreciate it. I think it needs to be shared with the council and then also with the public. And then finally, I want to talk for a minute about Lion Electric. That was the announcement last week. Governor Pritzker was in town. A lot's been said, but I think it needs to be repeated, especially at this forum. What a big deal this is for the city of Joliet. First of all, I want to thank Lion Electric for coming to our city and investing in our city. This is a $130 million investment. It's private money coming into the city of Joliet. Lion Electric, along with the construction jobs, are promising 1,400 full-time jobs, which are gonna have a salary that averages between $65,000 and $90,000 a year. So just do a little math. If you use a mean salary of $75,000 a year times 1,400 jobs, that's $105 million in new wages that's gonna get paid, not just to Joliet residents, but residents of our region. That's a huge project for the city of Joliet. I had signed a non-disclosure agreement along with Mr. Camporelli and Derek Conley, so we knew about this for some months while the negotiations were going on. It came down to the site in Joliet, a site in Texas, and one or two other states. Governor Pritzker was very involved in this in negotiations. I want to thank him and his staff for the hard work and bringing this project to Illinois. I do want to thank our city staff. Derek, I know you played a crucial role in this. Jim, you're a new city manager. You've been here 6 months, and you landed a project of this size. Again, I know you were involved in the negotiation process with Lion Electric. You know, there's guys that held that position for many years and never brought in anything like this. So kudos to you and the city staff. And then finally, I want to congratulate the city council. You know, I won't tie this to any one vote, but certainly the North Point vote played a part in this. I knew that companies like Lion were watching Joliet very closely to see how we would respond to that. We've been very clear the last 6 years. This council is pro-development and pro-business. And it certainly played a role. I can promise you, if we would have jerked around North Point like Elwood did, Lions Electric would not have bothered with Joliet or Illinois. They would have moved on. I know of other entities that are watching this council. So again, I think to the council people that stood tall and did the correct thing for the people of Joliet, I think you deserve a lot of credit, and you played a big role in landing a project like this. So Joe and Cesar, I know you guys have been brief lately. There's a lot more in the pipeline. There's good things coming to Joliet, and this is, you know, one of the best projects in a long time, maybe since Caterpillar, maybe since before that. But it's a big win for the city of Joliet, and again, I want to thank everyone who played a role in it.
Next is public comments. First is Trista Brown.
Before you count my minutes, I just want to give a shout out to Terry Morris and Betty Gavin. We do see what you're doing in our community, and I just want you to know that we appreciate you. Now your comments. Okay, we in Joliet always talk about being the city of champions, but we don't talk about who makes up the city of champions, the citizens of Joliet. All residents of the city should be treated as equal and respected. All opinions should be heard in the making of a better Joliet. Our champions should have a say-so and be able to collaborate in selecting a citizen review board and make a call for body cameras for police officers. Councilman Quillman said we cannot afford for cameras yet. However, the council finds funds for cities' beautifications and other concerns. The CARE Act money should be used to aid businesses and community services on the south side and east side of Joliet. They're in great need of support to businesses and affordable housing. The funds raised from taxes on sales of cannabis should be spread out to the Black community for services and economic benefit. In the Black community of Joliet, we are the last to receive aid and recreational services. If you want the city to thrive, help to fund to fix up the Warren Sharp Center and the Peter Clever Center. Fix them up and help them expand to provide much-needed services for children and adults. We see that the Park of District facilities in West Jefferson never lacks funds for programs. It does not serve children on the east side who are in desperate need of safe and available recreational services. Members of the council and the police force say they want to see true trust in the Black community. Let's start with the program where social workers who look like members of the Black, Latino, and Asian community are sent in during as a situation that's called for social services, not police action. Stop contributing to systemic racism. Change it. First, hold the mayor accountable for what he did on May 31st of last summer, assuming that assaulting Victor Williams and Jamal Smith, even an apology would have helped. This has been a year-long investigation with the mayor stepping down voluntarily where some dignity would have been for the betterment of all, not for some. There's no apology to the Black community, but you still want us to call this the city of champions. I listened to Reverend Posey talk about prayer and being out in the community and about how spiritual support will subdue violence. Mayor, you and Posey are pretty good friends. Did he ever talk to you about repentance? A good mayor will be the first to admit when he is wrong, and forgiveness is for you, not for us, because God always has the final word. What happened to Eric Lurie puts a stamp on bias of the city.
I'm sorry.
Why don't you yell a point of order over?
Okay, is she?
Are you stopping?
No, I'll stop it.
Are you stopping here?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, my minutes is getting messed up here. Okay, on the city of Doug May, you and him and his goon has been forgotten. You will be remembered as calling a human being a bitch and shoving a Tommy down somebody's throat on June 7th. And remember when they put 4 guns in the back of my 11-year-old grandson, who is now 16 years old, where a woman and a child was present and no apology was and no compassion. As I stand here, Joliet will never be a city of champions until they start seeing Black and brown people as your equals and not your rivals. I salute to all those who endure police brutality, and especially Eric Lurie, Victor Williams, Jamal Smith, Scott Shoemaker, Tony Person, and we all stand in his name. I show you way back in the 70s where nobody may not remember Scott Shoemaker, where the police department has set dogs on this guy, 50 things, and that has not even been resolved. So I ask that we do a little bit different in just being a better person as champions. I wish that more council members would be supportive of equality of the southeast side of the city on Chicago Street and McDonald, and not just show up during campaign seasons. Unfortunately, Joe Clemens and Jan Quinlan was not that visible. And if you want to help the homeless community, as you say, then be more supportive of homeless veterans. Kathy Beavers finds a way to house most of them. Stop being selective about which neighborhoods you don't want to find them in. If the West Side doesn't want to see homeless people in their area, try investing in the centers and agencies trying to help instead of trying to take property. I ask that, I want to give a shout out to Terry Morse for not hesitating and helping us with giving a dumpster for the PCC cleanup, and also Dawn in purchasing, right, and for inviting herself to help in the Peter Clever Center. We need
We're at
more
the 4-minute mark.
compassion
You wrap it up,
Thanks
please.
for what creates champions. One more thing, if this was a true city of champions, then we would have already won justice for Eric Lurie, Victor Jamal, Scott Shoemaker in the 90s, Tony Person in the 80s, Bruce Carter, who was slain in front of his disabled mother, and we would have justice for all of them.
Thank you.
Then we'll become the city of champions. Thank you.
Alma Montero.
Hi, good evening. My name, as she said, is Alma Montero, and I'm here, unfortunately, to bring up an issue that I'm sad to say has been going on for 3 years. I know some of you up there know about this. A lot of you up there might not know about this.
Ma'am, for the record, can you give your address, please?
Sure, my address is 1209 Edge Hill Avenue.
Thank you.
So basically, about 3 years ago, I started noticing 2 particular vehicles parking behind my house. Suspicious activity, basically, because they were unmarked cars. They were there basically daily from 10 a.m. till sometimes midnight. Holidays, they were there during below zero weather. And so I discarded that to be city employees, because I figured they're not going to be out there on holidays. They're not going to be out here till midnight. So I started inquiring. I started calling the police and got nowhere, other than the fact that I finally did talk to one of the officers that was dispatched out there, and he said, the guys there are okay. They're with the city. They're working to build a disc golf course, okay? There's never been any public meetings, any notices to the immediate neighbors. Nothing has been anything notified to anyone. And there's almost 3 years, these people, 2 people that have been out there volunteering, and I say volunteering because I have so much information to share. There's not enough time for me to do it now, but they told they didn't have any ID or any paperwork identifying them as being volunteers or contractors for the city. However, when I talked to this person, I approached him. He had told me his name is Mark, and I asked him who authorized him to do this kind of work, and he specifically said the mayor. He specifically said Betty Gavin. He specifically said Chris Regis and Greg Peeble from the Historic Museum. So I started again. I approached the mayor twice at a Council Street meeting. He denied knowing anything about this. He denied knowing any of these individuals. I tried to call Ms. Betty Gavin, left her a voicemail. That was late February, early March 2020, and I have not heard back from her. I also attempted to speak to Greg Peeble from the Historical Museum. Every time I stopped by, he was never there, at least that's what I was told. And the day that I did catch him, he would not speak to me because he was going to be going into a board meeting, but he did not attempt to make any kind of contact or give me any information about these people that are behind my home daily, doing all kinds of stuff back there that I don't know what they are. I have children, my neighbors are there as well. And basically what I did find out afterwards is that they have been destroying the wetlands back there, creating trenches, the natural habitat for the animals out there. They have been cutting trees, making roadways, burning, bringing people from outside that I'm assuming are Mark's friends or known individuals, bringing vans loaded with wooden pallets, being burnt back there as well. And all of this is my understanding that several of you know that this is going on, are denying it. I've been lied to, and nobody has had the decency to come out, at least to us, the neighbors that are right there in the vicinity, next to this forest area, to tell us, these are the people that are gonna be here, they are working with the city, this is the type of work that's being done. Again, as far as I am concerned, there's been no permits, no authorization. I understand, actually Derek Conley was the only person that has had the decency to come out and take time out of his day to come out and look to see what I was talking about. He saw firsthand the mess that's out there, and he reported back to Mr. Caparelli. They both acknowledged at the Collins Street Council meeting of January 26, 2021, that that was a mess because there's also concrete, rebar, shingles have been dumped there, and they think it's okay. I'm sorry, but this is not okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tanya Arias.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. For the record, my name is Tanya Arias. I'm a resident of Joliet. However, today I'm here as the president of the Collins Street Neighborhood Council. Many of you already know what the area is. So kind of piggyback off of Alma Matero. So this issue came up to a Collins Street meeting back in January 2020. That was kind of one of our last in-person meetings before the pandemic hit. We did address it with the mayor. We did address it with Derek. We kind of saw what was going on, and there was potential that it was maybe a disc golf. However, we were told this was taking place at the East Prison, which is about a mile away from Ms. Martero and her neighbor's residence. Fast forward January of 2021 of this year, Ms. Alma reached out to us. She said, there's a lot of things going on. I would feel comfortable if you come and kind of check it out. I and Derek, we went and did a walkthrough of the area. We saw a live fire burning in that area with a bunch of empty gas tanks laying around. That could have been a potential casualty that not only to the neighbors and the residents, but to the whole forest area. Potential lawsuit for the city as well. That to me was the final straw. Like, what is exactly going on? If there's some type of business thing that constructing, great, but please be transparent with exactly with the neighbors, because this is literally on their backyard. If you drive up to Ms. Martero's house, it's literally, her house is right here, and here's the entrance to, literally, you have to drive through her house to get to that entrance. We do want to thank Derek, because he has been out there, he has been communicating with us. Mr. Caparelli was a guest speaker at this year's January meeting. He didn't mention it's an eyesore, that garbage dump. This would definitely not be happening on the west side of the city. We do run a command that they did put up a gate that's padded. However, I went back over there because Ms. Alma reached out to me again. I saw the gate on Monday. I can see clearly that there's tire tracks that go around the gate. So people are still trying to go around and get in. So my concern is just be transparent, tell us what exactly is going on. That's all the residents want to know. And I do invite all of you. We do have our Collins Street meetings on the fourth Wednesday of each month. It's gonna be the 26th, which is next week. We do send out our e-blast about Thursday or Friday prior. New city council members, you'll be added to our e-blast. We are doing it via Zoom and Facebook Live until the situation kind of slows down with the pandemic. But again, just we want some answers, what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments?
Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Amy Sanchez. I am a resident of Joliet as well. And also speaking on behalf of the Collins Street Neighborhood Council as a board meeting, as a issue that came up to our board that we wanted to address. While we're very sensitive to the homeless situation in Joliet, especially downtown and the east side, we do have great concerns that our residents have brought up to us repeatedly about the now abandoned Church's Chicken, the gentleman that has established residency on the north side facing Jackson Street. It's been reported that not only is he there sleeping and people are bringing him food, they've offered him to take them to the shelter, have offered him some resources that's available in the community. I know the police have been called on several occasions. However, he is openly urinating at the stop sign. It's our understanding that he was arrested yesterday. A resident did file a complaint against him to make sure that he was arrested because he was openly fondling himself in front of the intersection. We would like the city to possibly, business services, whomever, to support the police department, because apparently the officers, we have excellent officers in our sector over in the Collins Street area that have reached out, and they keep getting redirected to the church's corporate office to get him trespassed and hopefully give him those wraparound services that he needs for support, but we don't want him to clearly traumatize any of our children while he's out there doing whatever he's doing, especially fondling himself or urinating in public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening, members of the council, mayor. My name is Alicia Morales. I'm a Joliet resident. And actually, I'm one of the first people that was notified by Ms. Montero about this concern. I personally went out, took a look. I pulled in after Derek and Tanya did a walkthrough, and then I did a second walkthrough with Ms. Montero. And honestly, if I'm a homeowner and a taxpayer and I see that being dumped in my backyard, I would definitely, do whatever it is that I need to do with small children to make sure that my family is safe. Not only is it a safety for the neighbors, it is also an environmental issue. And we ask, this is on the east side. Again, people are feeling dismissed. We need equality, and that means when you give attention to people in the west side, you give the same attention to the complaints on the east side. They're taxpayers. They own a home, okay? We just want the same level of service and attention to be given to everybody, and transparency, as you mentioned. We vote for our elected officials to at least research. Thank you for coming out, Derek. I know you've done everything you can. It seems like things are falling on deaf ears. So we didn't want to bring this to this platform. Honestly, we did not. But I feel that we've taken every step and every measure privately to ask and for people to listen and to do something about this. And everything's fallen on deaf ears. So that's why now we have to bring it publicly, unfortunately. So again, we just ask for transparency, and on behalf of the Collins Street Neighborhood Council, again, I also invite you to our meetings, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Good evening, Quinn Adamowski, 520 Knox Place. So really didn't want to say anything publicly, but feel like I don't have a choice. On April 8th of 2019, the aforementioned person, Mark, presented to the prison committee about the workings of his disc golf course. April 8th, 2019, that's 2 years ago. That was a public meeting. Additionally, one of the people who spoke tonight is part of the prison coalition, where this project, the disc golf course, was talked about. There's conflating of people dumping, I don't know who they are, with a guy who is, with another person, spent thousands of hours out there trying to make a disc golf course, which is recreational, which will draw thousands of people, which is a great economic development tool. I understand that people have some concerns, and obviously Derek or Mr. Regis can talk through some of the particulars as to what has transpired since January. But I just need for the record, the public record, to understand
that the people who are going out there to try to build a disc golf course, which city staff was fully aware of, prison committee was fully aware of, and has supporters across the board, this is not somebody going out there decimating the site. In fact, I would argue that activity out there in that land, that 130 acres, is good for the whole community. It's good for economic development. And given its location to Delwood Park, which is one of the best disc golf courses in the state, there's a huge opportunity to partner with Lockport down the line and have larger events. And just one other thing to clarify about Mark. He's held 3 disc golf events in the old big prison. In 2 years running, he held a putting league in the women's prison. And to date, through their efforts, they've given the Prison Preservation Fund $50,000. So these are not people who are not good stewards of the land. These are not people who are not good stewards of the Collins Street area. These are people who care about the area, care about what we're trying to do as it relates to preservation, and saw an opportunity for recreation and have been doing it on their own without getting paid. Just for the record, these are not people who are bad stewards of the land. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yvette Stevenson. I live next door to Miss Montero, and I understand that, you know, there's supposed to be a disc golf something or other going on, but I have pictures from 2 weeks ago. We were having a garage sale, and people were back and forth dumping all day. We've got pictures. I mean, it was, you know, crazy. You know, I work in medical profession and sometimes can't sleep in because you hear people coming and they're dumping. We've complained about this, and, you know, right now I'm just, you know, it's very, very close to our properties. I mean, you just can't, I mean, I walk a dog, play with all the neighborhood dogs, but there's one in particular that I do walk, and we go back there almost every day, in the morning and in the evening, and there's something new there every single day, and it's getting closer and closer and closer to the back of our properties. So I would really love someone to, you know, just come and talk to us in our neighborhood. It just seems like nobody's listening. And I'm a bit frustrated. I know Ms. Montero's frustrated. And thank you for your time. And just please, you guys, stop by, see us. We'll be happy to talk to you.
Ma'am,
You guys can give us a solution.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I think we may be talking about 2 different things. Illegal dumping is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that has anything to do with a disc golf course.
Okay, when Mark or whomever, whatever his name is back there, they're back there. So as far as I'm concerned right now, it's just like, they may be 2 separate, but they're there at the same amount of time, at the same time.
Have you ever called the police department when someone's...
Yes, we have.
Have they taken enforcement action?
Okay, all right. Well, got a solution to one of the problems, but yes.
Have the police taken enforcement action when they came out?
At some point, they just talked to the people who were coming back there, but that's about it.
All right, well, Jim, if you could pass it, we'll talk to the police department about the dumping. 'Cause that's
Yeah,
not
you know, Mayor, right. I think that there have been reports of illegal dumping, asphalt, concrete. Clearly, that's not the people that are working on the golf course. If you have pictures of people dumping asphalt or there, please, you have to bring it in. I'll be more than happy to charge them and make them clean it all up. It's illegal to fly dump like that. That's one of the reasons we put the gate up there, to try to stop that. So if you have pictures of actual individuals, I know that there's been talk of paving companies going back there because this way they don't have to pay any fees at the local landfill. They are trying to dump it in there. So if you have pictures of people dropping asphalt or concrete, please take pictures of the truck, the license plate, and the people, And we'll be more than happy to do something with that. You can call me personally. I will make sure that that gets taken care of. Or you can reach out to Mr. Regis, and we will get that taken care of.
Or dial 911.
Yeah, and have somebody come out there so we can get that done for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Calvin Gruder. I live at 1211 Edge Hill, and Mark initiated the dumping. He gave permission to some of those contractors to drop their loads in the back there because he was going to build a berm. Supposedly, that's where it was going, and evidently it got out of hand. And there's constantly everybody's back there dumping.
Is there anyone else? Next is mayor and council comments.
Joe?
You know, Mayor, I'm sitting here listening to the comments, and I appreciate each and every one of you with your comments, but some of it's been distorted. You know, equality, find one person that says that anybody up here hasn't been equal. I mean, we try to do the best we can. This is the city of Joliet, not the east side, west side. I'm not playing that game. When I was on the park board, we spent over $7 million at Knoll Park for recreation on the east side. It was a $19 million referendum. Forest Park, Heggie Field, we put in new playgrounds, splash pads. More than half of the $19 million went to the east side. So I take a little bit of offense to that. I can't think anybody up here that wouldn't believe in equality up here. So those are my comments. So.
Yes, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Joe Agonanga. And I know I'm butchering his last name, but we all know him as JoJo. JoJo is a 13-year-old boxing prodigy. He just won another national title. He's an Olympic contender. And at 13, JoJo is in college. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank him, congratulate him, and also to thank his parents for raising such a bright young man. If you haven't seen JoJo, please go on YouTube and put in 13-year-old boxing prodigy. This young man is super smart. Education is his first goal, but boxing is he a beast. So you have to look him out. Please check him out. I'll send you the video, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Caesar?
To Ms. Montero, I know you gave me a call earlier in the week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stop by in person. Definitely would like to make arrangements to visit and see the site for myself sometime later this week. You have my contact already. So definitely, again, would just like to be there in person, see the site, and hopefully we can come to some agreement on this and get to some resolution.
Larry?
Yes, I just wanted to publicly give my condolences to Ted Liga's family. Ted Liga was an educator, musician, band leader for an excess of 30 years, retired in 2002, but really didn't retire because he took over his dad's orchestra, the Teddy Lee Orchestra. I met him in the 90s. We ran sound for that orchestra. That's how I got to know Ted. And he passed away last week. He was in hospice, and there was no proclamation read tonight. There was no oversight by the mayor. I don't know if I'm stepping on your toes here, Bob. He personally delivered the proclamation for Mr. Liga, for Ted, at his Saturday evening at his services. So Bob went over there at, I think, 6, 7 o'clock at night, wasn't it, Bob?
Yep.
To hand deliver it because that was the wishes of the family, that the proclamation. So the mayor, I don't know if you were going to mention it, Bob, I wasn't sure. The mayor did do a proclamation. I called him, so a number of people called him. But I think probably at least half, if not all of the people in here probably know who Ted Liga is. And he did pass away, longtime band leader at Joliet Central. And condolences to the family, he'll be missed. He was a swell guy.
Terry?
Yeah.
Pat?
Just like to talk about the masks. I think everyone obviously knows that the governor has stepped up the pace, and we're all being allowed to use them less. Any of you that have friends, family, acquaintances that have decided not to get the shot, I'd like you to encourage them to get it. There's still more than enough areas in our area that you can get vaccinated. So please give that some thought.
Jan?
Yes, just to follow up on that, use your own discretion, and this is the first I'm hearing about the dumping over there, so I was never called or notified of that. But on the other hand, me never going on the east side, totally untrue. I felt that during the campaign, volunteering and giving vaccines to citizens was mostly important. And I was at Mount Carmel a couple times giving vaccines at the time. And I was accused of not coming to a thing because the answer I received was, and that person's in the audience tonight talking right now, saying, oh, I hope those vaccines were worth more than votes, Miss Quillman. And you know what? They were. Worth every one of them.
Excuse
Worth
me,
every
ma'am.
one of them.
You don't have the floor. Please be quiet. Sherry?
I'd like to admit that I was remiss in our last council meeting. Councilwoman Gavin, congratulations. You won't toot your own horn, but I'd like to toot it for you. She was elevated to the national president for the Hookup of Black Women, Inc., which she will be over 20 chapters, and she'll be installed later this month. So congratulations. I know how excited you were when we talked, so I'm so sorry I missed that on the last meeting. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A couple things. About the dumping, I do remember that meeting in 2020, I believe, Ms. Montero. I think you misrepresented. I did not tell you I had no idea what was going on there. I didn't know anything about dumping, but we certainly knew about the disc golf, as Mr. Adamowski has pointed out, because that had already been approved by the prison committee, and that was part of what was happening over there. Mr. Regis, if you want to step forward, I know you've had meetings to explain this. If you could clear the record on this also, I'd appreciate it.
I can. Like Quinn, hi everyone. Like Quinn mentioned, this was discussed at a public prison committee meeting, and this direction was approved to be taken. I can tell you that I understand illegal dumping is a problem. We all agree with that. That has nothing to do with this project, and it also underscores the need for occupancy, redevelopment, and use of this great open land asset that we've been given access to. And that's why we're trying to develop this recreational opportunity for the city. I did speak with Ms. Montero about 2 years ago. She came into my office and I explained everything to her about what was happening, what's been going on. And we are having a prison committee meeting coming up in the near future, and next steps will be discussed at that meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So just to be clear, dumping is illegal. No one has permission to dump. If you see it happening, call the police, call Mr. Camparelli, take pictures if you can get a license plate, because we'll enforce it like we do anywhere else in the city.
Bob, Mayor?
Yes.
Can I make a comment on it? You indulge me?
Yes.
It is completely inaccurate and wrong that there's no dumping on the west side. All along the railroad tracks, in the unfinished portions, there absolutely is. There are things, like we talk about asphalt and so forth, there are couches. It happens everywhere. Let me give you a newsflash, folks. There's ignorant pigs on all parts of this city who think they can make anything they want their dumping ground. But for people that claim they want to bring together, I truly want to bring everybody together. The identity politics of making it east side, west side, black, white all the time. The problems exist throughout the city, and we address them. And when you say you're trying to bring people together, but you put up these fences and categorize them, how sincere are you in trying to bring them together? Thank you.
Not very. Ms. Morales, you're an elected official. And for you to maintain that somehow the east side is being dismissed when it's this body that took that abandoned property and is making something happen out there. Not any other elected official. It was this body that identified the eyesore that the prison property has been, that went to Springfield, that negotiated with the governor, Governor Rauner, and now Governor Pritzker, to try to do something positive on that territory. So I think your comments were unfortunate. I'll leave it at that. I do want to thank Derek Conley. Last week, we were thrown at the last minute to give a speech at the Chamber of Commerce. Derek, we did it together. I think we did a nice job, but thank you for your efforts on that. Also do want to recognize Ted Liga for his service to Joliet, and condolences to his family. I do want to thank Councilwoman Quillman. Obviously, you made the right choice. giving vaccinations. It's outrageous someone would tell that to you, that an election is more important than saving lives. But thank you, Jan Quillman. Thank you, Joliet Fire Department. Thank you, Jeff Carey. And thank you, Chief Blasky, for your efforts. I don't have the total numbers. I think it's around 60,000 people were vaccinated by volunteers from the city of Joliet, volunteers that were out there saving lives. And no one else is gonna give them recognition, but we'll do it at this chambers. And then finally, I think we all were in trouble after the last meeting because we all forgot it was Mother's Day. So belatedly,
We sure did.
I'd
You're
like to
just
thank.
saying that because Father's Day's next.
Yeah. I would like to wish my mother, Mary Odekirk, and my wife, Rebecca, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my peers who are mothers or who have mothers that are still alive. And of course, happy Mother's Day to the mothers of the city of Joliet. Thank you.
I did receive a request for closed session. Is there's a motion to go into closed session, discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance, pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye?
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Motion carried.